This week on the WIU Football Coaches Show, South Dakota State continues its recent success against the Leathernecks as Western Illinois looks to rebound this weekend at Illinois State. A preview, highlights, analysis, everything you need to know about Western Illinois football coming up next. Welcome to another edition of the WIU Football Coaches Show. I'm Danny Fry alongside Leatherneck head football coach Charlie Fisher. Western Illinois fell at home this past week, losing to South Dakota State 52-24. Coach, obviously the team didn't play the way you wanted to of this one, but what can you take away from a game like this?
Well, the second half got away from us. We, right there going toe-to-toe with a nationally ranked team, very, very good football team. We all know that, very explosive. Second half, we got a couple tough breaks. We got a tough call, and things didn't go our way. We didn't respond as well as we needed to in that particular moment, and they're explosive. The game got away, but at the end of the day, we got to rise and fight again. That's the bottom line. We can't sit there and feel sorry for ourselves. We got Illinois State up next, and we just got to play better. We didn't play well enough for 60 minutes, Dan, to earn a victory. First half, though, was very competitive and exciting. We'll go to those first half highlights from Hanson Field. Sam Crosa, of course, one of the loosest players on the team. Pre-game, a lot of energy before coming out, but of course, you got to go out and take care of business. Absolutely, and this is the kind of games you want to be in this time of year. You want every game to matter, every play to matter. And you know what? Team even splurged a little bit here. Not the sign. You got a whole banner here for play like 11. Absolutely. Kind of draw a little bit off the Michigan look and really like it. So we just wanted to do something a little bit different. But South Dakota State came out ready to play. First drive, Taryn Christian drops back, finds Marquise Lewis in a 30-yard touchdown strike. That puts the Jackrabbits ahead on the scoreboard early on. They did. They're explosive. They went right down. We really wanted to kick off with the win. We got everything we wanted. We just weren't quite able to get a couple stops there, but bounced right back. McGuire trying to answer. Here's just a little pass for about 5 yards to Jalen Acklin, and it moves the chains for another Leatherneck first down. Then it sets up Nathan Erickson, lines up for a 45-yard field goal, and just like North Dakota State, even in the wind and the conditions here at Hanson Field, he nails it. 7-3 South Dakota State. On the following drive, Christian's pass is intercepted by Quentin Moon. Another heads-up play there by Moon. Yeah, Q Moon's had an outstanding year for us. He's played so well, and he's really back to where he was early in the season, feeling good and really playing well. And then McGuire hands it off to Steve McShane to the right. Waltz is in from 6 yards out. Western takes the lead in the first quarter, 10-7. Yeah, just an inside zone play that bent back. Stevie with great vision saw it and attacked the line of scrimmage and got in the end zone. And Chase Vinatieri, though, ties up the game, kicks a 30-yard field goal, 10-10 at the end of the first quarter. Early on the second quarter, Christian to Dallas Goddard, 28-yard gain. You know that you're going to get that from Goddard. Then later in the drive, a great defensive play, batting down the ball, and that would force the Jackrabbits to have to send it away at that point. But the Jackrabbits would get right back on track. Christian to Jake Wenicky for 23 yards. He was dangerous all game. Yeah, Jake Wenicky he's been a nemesis for Western over his career, and we had to stop him. We weren't quite able to do that well enough, obviously, on Saturday. What a great toe dragging grab there by Jake Wenicky. That's what he does. 17-10, South Dakota State on the impressive touchdown grab. Yeah, he's such a great 50-50 ball reception guy, and he's made a lot of hay in the red zone on those type of throws. But Sean McGuire and the Leathernecks back to work. Here's Jalen Acklin near the sideline, a gain of 16 yards. And then how about a little razzle-dazzle to Steve McShane. Impressive, making everybody look silly on the South Dakota State defense, putting them on skates. 39-yard touchdown. Yeah, Steve can do that. I mean, he has the ability to make everybody miss. His guy's Reggie Bush. I compared that run to Barry Sanders last night. A lot of runs I saw from that guy when he's with the Lions. So, an outstanding player. He just kind of took it on his shoulders and said, I'm getting in the end zone. And good company there. That tied up the game 17-17 with 53 seconds left in the first half. Christian to Wenicky, another outstanding catch. Pretty much the same play. South Dakota State takes a 24-17 lead into halftime, Coach. And, we got to... What was kind of the general feeling at that after South Dakota State grabbed a little bit of momentum? When you're playing a team like this, Dan, there's going to be an ebb and a flow and highs and lows. And And going in at 24-17, I mean, the way our team has responded and played in the third quarter all season long, you got to feel really good about where we are. We deferred the opening toss, so we were getting the ball. Everything lined up where we wanted to. We just had to come out and play a good second half. And really, quite honestly, the first drive, the return by Wheeler played out exactly how we wanted it to. Unfortunately, we got a bad call. That's the bottom line. We all know that. That's been confirmed by the head of officials. And from there, we lost a lot of momentum, and we never really could recover.
Did the Quentin Moon interception there sort of jumpstart the offense there in the first quarter?
Oh, absolutely. When you get big plays like that, it jumpstarts your whole team. And then obviously it was not only an intercept, it was an intercept in the short field. So you got to convert 10, 11 yards there to get it in the end zone, and we did that relatively quickly. So, and I felt like coming out when Darren Wheeler returned to kick 42 yards, I felt like that jump-started us. That created a lot of momentum and energy. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, with the call and the way things unfolded, it just didn't go our way.
Cold sort of football weather again in this one, and but these are two teams that they were ready to play for, and you still saw a lot of points get put up.
Oh, two explosive offensive teams. When you look at it in the big scheme of things, Dan, they ran 80 plays, we ran 44. Had we been more 50-50, the yards would have been very, very equal. They're very good. We're explosive offensively. Unfortunately, we couldn't get off the field on third down, and we couldn't maintain it enough in the second half on third down. It really came down to those key plays and then some explosives that we weren't able to stop.
Now it's time to go underneath the headset. That's right, rapid fire question time. Again, a little closer look at some of your favorite Leathernecks in the 2-minute drill. Quentin Moon is our guest here on the 2-minute drill this week. So you've had to play through a little bit of a wrist injury. What's it been like playing through that injury and still able to be an impact to the team?
I think it's been a lot to adjust towards too. It's been hard to tackle at first, but I'm starting to get used to it a little bit. I've actually caught 2 interceptions with it, so it's kind of been my lucky charm as well. So I'm enjoying playing with it.
How does that work out? You think that it would be harder to catch the football?
I started out against Missouri State. I had it clubbed all the way up, so I didn't have my fingertips out or anything. But then against North Dakota State, I decided to go ahead and try the fingertips out, and then I had a pick 6. And I was like, I might as well just keep it going. So then last week against South Dakota State, I had him out again and got another interception. So it's working out pretty well for me.
What was it like with the club, not being able to move your fingers at all there?
That was really what got me started with getting adjusted to tackling wise. I just could tell missing a little bit of tackles, trying to reach out and forgetting that I don't have the extra grip to reach the running back or anything. But I've gotten used to it now, so it's not much of a factor.
You talk about those 2 interceptions. Would you rather go and force a fumble or pick up an interception?
I think picking up an interception is more entertaining and more fun to bring to the team.
For sure. Obviously, you're a linebacker right there with Brett Taylor. What's it like working with Brett Taylor and that whole linebacking core?
Brett's been a tremendous leader for us. Since my freshman year, I've always looked up to him and kind of leaned on him to pave the way. And we've gotten together and bonded really well. He's become one of my closest friends here at Western. It's been a lot of fun. I'm just trying to enjoy this last ride with him for his senior year.
What's your favorite musical artist?
I like Drake. I like Gucci Mane, Young Jeezy.
There we go. Favorite movie?
Friday Night Lights, and I like The Wood.
There you go. Both very good movies there. All right, that's Quentin Moon. Time's up. Thanks for coming on the 2-minute drill.
Thank you.
When we come back, Coach Fisher and I will break down the second half from Hanson Field. Stick around. Welcome back to the WIU Football Coaches Show. I'm Danny Fry alongside Leatherneck head football coach Charlie Fisher. Western Illinois football trailed South Dakota State 24-17 at halftime. Coach, kind of strategy you talked about, coming out in the second half, you thought you guys were in a good position.
Great spot. We're down 7 to an outstanding team. They got their last score right there at the end of the half. Felt really good. Energy was great in the locker room. Got a nice return from Darren Wheeler, 42 yards, set a lot of energy on the sideline. We moved the ball down, and and we hit the long pass to Ackland, and unfortunately, it was a missed call. We're in a little bit of a different formation, and the officials misread it, called us for an ineligible downfield, and took a lot of momentum from us.
And that could have been a turning point in that ball game as we go to the second half highlights from Hanson Field. Close game. Zeke LaShore trying to get the team ready like he always does coming out of the half. But South Dakota State and that Jackrabbit offense ready to go. Of course, it's Taryn Christian feeling the pressure early, but he is somehow able to find Wenicky down the sideline.
Yeah, that was a big play right after the missed call, and that was 3rd and 15. They get 18, and we get a PI here, and everything kind of starts to unravel a little bit on us.
And it's just Taryn Christian creating really something out of nothing. Finds Marquise Lewis. What happened here, Coach? Lewis didn't step out of bounds, sprints up the sideline, 46 yards for SDSU.
Combination, obviously some poor tackling and him making a really good play, and Taryn Christian making a good play. I mean, it's a combination, a little bit of everything.
But then McGuire back to the air. He goes to Ackland again. Now Jalen Ackland. The curl route, but unfortunately the ball pops out, coughs up the football. Christian Roseroom recovers a fumble for South Dakota State.
Yeah, it's hard to give these guys the ball inside the 50, and we did, and then they took advantage of the big throw down the middle to Dallas Goddard, and these are plays we just could not stop all day.
38 yards to Goddard. The next play to Wenicky, 6-yard touchdown. All of a sudden, 45-17. South Dakota State at this point. McGuire trying to lead the comeback, finds Zeke LaShore on the sideline. Little gain of 10 as he slips up there.
All right, very good read there. We actually had a shot play called there, Dan, and he checked it down. They had it covered, so it was a really good job by Sean finding his outlet receiver.
So going to the fourth quarter, trying to keep everybody motivated. And then at this point, you'll get a lot of help here with this play to Steve McShane on the wheel route, 47-yard touchdown reception, 45-24.
And, Steve is so explosive, so dynamic, and so good catching the ball down the field. He's done that numerous times in his career here.
At this point, you think, okay, maybe we can string something together, get some turnovers, and make this one a little bit interesting. But it's just Christian to Goddard again, and he just a big force.
Yeah, he's 260 pounds. He's bigger than he was a year ago. He's got a soft set of hands, and he's hard to deal with.
Isaac Wallace just barely misses the end zone. Initially ruled a touchdown, but he's just short. But doesn't matter. Taryn Christian rolls out and scores really from the inch line on the outside, 52-24 at that point. And then to really just officially ice this one, Sean McGuire throws, just like North Dakota State, a late interception. It's Christian Roseboom, who had a heck of a game defensively for South Dakota State.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player. He got one on us last year on a pick six, and we just at this point we've not been able to solve South Dakota State, Danny.
And that's, again, over 50 points second straight year. South Dakota State moves to 6-2. Western Illinois down to 5-3. McShane, though, back 12 carries, 90 yards. He had 3 total touchdowns. Christian Roseboom, as we mentioned, for South Dakota State, 10 tackles, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception. David Griffith has been very quietly this season, racking up a ton of tackles. Right. He had 13 in this one. Brett Taylor also had 14. So, Coach, Western's been a consistent second-half team, making a lot of adjustments this year, but it was South Dakota State that really came up with big plays in the second half, especially the third.
Absolutely. It just it's such a fine line, winning and losing. And all the years I've done this, if you can just, if you can seize momentum at the right time and get it on your side. And, we talked about those 2 or 3 plays right out of the gate at the half. If you see one of those go our way, I just got to believe it's a different story, and sometimes the game gets away from you, and they're capable of doing that because they're so explosive.
We knew that running the football was going to be important for Western to come out on top, and you got a lot of impressive play there from Steve McShane.
Right. We did. Steve's been running the ball well. Max, Clint Rakovich. I love our backs. When you're down 30 late in the game, it's hard to keep pounding the ball. You got to try and make some plays through the air. But when you look at it, we had 130 yards rushing on 44 plays. So our running game was productive. We just weren't able to stay on the field enough to kind of use it a little bit more to swing the time of possession just to give us a better chance to win.
And a lot of people say, back-to-back losers. But these are, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, 2 of the best teams in the nation. But I mean, it's the hard part of the schedule here. We talked so much about how tough the Valley is. I mean, what are some things that are being worked on right now in the final stretch, kind of final quarter of this season?
Well, you got to execute better in the 60 minutes to have a chance to win against these type of teams, and it's not anything to do with lack of effort. Obviously, we played a explosive offensive team here this past week. The week before, we played a dynamic defensive team. I mean, every game brings certain battles, certain challenges. I think in this league, Dan, it's the teams that can rise up from tough losses, that can bounce back from big wins and keep a resolve about them and an emotional maturity to move on to the next game, to get ready for what is an outstanding Illinois State team. And then we've got 3 games left. All our goals are in front of us. We've just got to finish the fight, so to speak, and get back on our feet. We got veteran leadership. We got a great group of kids in the locker room. We'll do that. We'll be back. We'll be ready to go come this Saturday.
Of course, Western Will there, and earlier got a chance to catch up with the voice of the Leathernecks, Scott Kornberg. Hear that interview coming up next on the WIU Football Coaches Show.
She wins the game! She wins the game! The Leathernecks win!
Welcome back to the WIU Football Coaches Show. Joining me now is the voice of the Fighting Leathernecks in his 4th season, Scott Kornberg. Scott, thanks for coming on.
Oh, Danny, thank you so much for having me. An honor today.
Yeah, you've been doing WIU football and WIU men's basketball. This will be your 4th season for WIU football. Now, when you came in to Macomb, Illinois, you're an East Coast guy, a Maryland guy. What was your first impression of Macomb and Western Illinois University?
Definitely a small place for sure, but it was a really cool place. I remember the number of different school people telling me it's a people-friendly place, and that's really stuck out to me. Everyone is very friendly. It's a very passionate town for this school, and obviously a tremendous school to be a part of from my perspective.
And you jump right in with Western Illinois football. You jump in first 2 seasons under head coach Bob Nielsen and then with head coach Charlie Fisher. What's it been like working with both of those coaches? I mean, really building programs.
Oh, 2 tremendous people and 2 people that, as you said, kind of came in under different circumstances. Coach Nielsen was really trying to build everything up. Western Illinois had struggled before he got here, and Coach Fisher was just sort of taking what Coach Nielsen got and trying to bring that to the next level. And I think both did a great job. Obviously, Coach Fisher, still in the present, is doing a really good job of building something special here, because this team this season, in 2017, there are some really significant pieces, and I know they've lost a couple games in a row, but every team's going to have their ups and downs, and there's been a lot of ups this season, and there's still a long way to go for these guys to figure it out.
Now, crab cakes and football, that's what Maryland does. You're from Maryland. You're a Terp all the way. What did you learn, I mean, from the broadcast kind of perspective from Maryland that eventually led you to a place like Western Illinois?
Well, Maryland was great for me because they really allowed me to learn by doing. And I remember going to visit other schools, and some of them said, oh, you can't get behind a camera or a microphone until you're a junior. And I just didn't feel like that was the best way to learn. And Maryland said, when you're a freshman, we're going to get you on right away. And when I look back and listen, I mean, I was terrible as a freshman, but I got better because they kind of coached you from there. And also it was a great place because you're right near Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. And so because of that, there's so many opportunities in addition to what you can do just in your classes. And even some classes send you into those cities, Annapolis, Maryland, as well as the capital. So, there's a great opportunity there, just like there is here. I mean, I consider myself obviously a Maryland alum, but also a Leatherneck as well.
That's right, Leatherneck in your 4th season. Also a Myrtle Beach Pelican as well for baseball. Been doing that the past couple years. I mean, Macomb, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a lot of similarities there, right?
No doubt about it. But the similarities are it's 2 great positions, 2 very lucky and fortunate things I have. And I also work with great people at both spots, be it yourself, Coach Fisher, Coach Wright, obviously a number of people who also work in the athletic department here. Obviously in Myrtle Beach, we have great coaches, managers, players. The weather's a little bit different, I would say. I think I've been checking this week. It's been like 75 degrees or so. But overall, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have that one. I mean, it's really cool to be able to do baseball in the spring and the summer, 140-game season. Work with the Chicago Cubs, who are amazing. The Pelicans are a Cubs affiliate. And, we've had guys like Wilson Contreras rehab with us, which is really cool. And then coming here to do Division I football and men's basketball, something I never imagined I'd be this lucky to have when I was in school.
Come on, one last question I want to ask her. What's it been like for football to where we've had him on the show before to work with Dr. Tom Cody?
Oh, he's a lot of fun. He's got so much passion for the university and the program. And I think when I talk about passion, I mean, he's up the forefront with that. And he makes me look so good because I don't really have a difficult job for football. I just kind of call what happens, and then he really knows what's going on in football. He used to coach, so my job is to really set him up, tee him up, and he does a tremendous job with that and showing his passion, showing his knowledge of the game, explaining what's happening to our listeners, I think, at a very high level. And also, he's just a fun person to be with on the air. He likes to work in different catchphrases and whatnot. So he has a good time, and I hope that's prevalent when you listen, because I really have a good time talking with him on our broadcast.
Dilly Dilly. That's his latest
Many,
thing.
many others.
Yeah, that's right. Scott Cormack, thanks again so much for coming on, sharing your story and your insight for Leatherneck football.
Danny, thank you so much for having me on.
When we come back to the WIU Football Coaches Show, Charlie Fisher and I will break down this weekend's matchup at Illinois State.
Western Illinois University allows you to think for yourself and to discover the freedom to become your own.
Own it at Western. Build your own expectations and fill your own shoes.
Explore an academic culture that adapts to you.
Create yourself and inspire originality in an open and safe environment.
Western Illinois University lets you make your own success story.
Think purple.
Think success.
Think Western Illinois University.
Welcome back to the WIU Football Coaches Show. It's time to check in on how Missouri Valley Football Conference teams performed this past weekend. There were some good games. Obviously, Illinois State, we'll talk about that game a little more, shutting out Youngstown State 35-0. Missouri State in a sort of a shootout style, how they always play, over Indiana State 59-20. Northern Iowa led North Dakota State early, competed, but the Bison eventually run away with it in the Fargo Dome 30-14. And South Dakota, their 7th win of the season, shutting out a good Southern Illinois Saluki team 42-0. And now the game's on tap for Week 10 here in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Youngstown State, the Penguins have dropped 4 games in a row. They try to get back on track in Terre Haute against a winless Sycamore Ball Club. Missouri State visits Carbondale to Southern Illinois. South Dakota, a tough game in the Unidome against Northern Iowa. And still undefeated, North Dakota State visits South Dakota State. That's a battle for the Dakota marker. So the Leathernecks go on the road, coach, face off against, and this is a red-hot Illinois State team. The Redbirds 6-2, notable wins, dominant wins too, over South Dakota and Youngstown State. It's also the 100th time that the Leathernecks and the Redbirds have met on the gridiron. So this is a big rivalry.
Right.
What does this rivalry mean to the team?
Yeah, when you've been playing 100 years, you've been going at it a long time in the backyard. So these two teams are right down the road from each other. When you just think about all the great players, when I think about a rivalry, I always look at like all the great players that have slipped on a jersey to play in this game. That's what makes this game so special. It's special to our former players, our current players, our fan base, and both schools. So it doesn't get any better than this.
No, and you talk about what have the Redbirds done after losing 42-7 to Southern Illinois. Before that, losing pretty handily when Case Cookus was National Player of the Week against them. What changes past couple weeks? Obviously, one of the best coached teams in the Valley.
Yeah, it's pretty easy in 2 words. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Stop the run, stop the run, stop the run. They can do both. They have made a true commitment to running the ball. They got 2 big bruising backs. They've taken a little bit of pressure off their quarterback and just said, hey, we're going to run the ball. We know we play great defense. They always have, but they've got a defense that rivals North Dakota State. It's a formula for winning, Dan, wherever you go. Run the ball, stop the run, don't turn it over. You got a great chance every week.
Now, You got to say, because run the ball, you got to go out there, you got to stop that run. How do you think your team stacks up to that challenge?
Well, that's something that we have traditionally done a good job. We're a hardball team ourselves, so our guys are used to playing in a physical game in the box. Now, these guys do create challenges because they're big and physical, and they've got two big physical running backs, and then they got a change of pace quarterback. They got a lot of ways they can attack you, and quite honestly, they're really good at receiver. They just haven't really gone that route the last 2 or 3 weeks. When you saw Kolb had a couple of games where he threw 6 picks, they kind of said, okay, enough of this. We're going to play to our strength, running the football, throw it when we need some big plays, and then play great defense.
Anything special planned for this 100th game? I know this has been something that's been hyped for a few months now.
Well, I mean, what we want to plan most special is try and go win the game.
Of course.
And we need to break the streak. It's been a long time since Western's been able to beat this football team, and it's a great opportunity. It's everything's in front of us. That's really what we talk about the most, is what we can accomplish this week, what can be done, and great challenge and a great opportunity.
Has it been a matchup thing over the years that you think has stopped Leathernecks against Illinois State? Because sometimes it's just a team just against another team just has a hard time getting off the schneid.
Yeah, been down that road at Vanderbilt. We had a hard time with Tennessee for a long time, and then we finally got off the schneid, and Jay Cutler led us to a big win. And that's the beauty of sports. That there's an ebb and a flow, and you look at the history of this series. Western dominated the early part of the 2000s, and now Illinois State has got the hand here from basically 2011 to this point. So we've got to change that, and it's up to our players and coaches. You have to take the right mindset. But I know this, a rival game, Danny, you know this better than anybody. In a rival game, you think about Penn State and Pitt and Notre Dame and USC and Arizona State. Go right down the line. Anything can happen. And we got a team that's good enough to win. Anytime we line up and play on Saturday, we've stubbed our toe a little bit, but against quality teams. Now, it's like to everybody. I told our team we're playing a tough part of our schedule, and you just have to respond. You have to keep moving forward and swing big at the next game.
Have to do that on the road at Illinois State, and we've heard this for a couple weeks now. Sold out crowd. Right. They're expected at Hancock Stadium. We'll just push it up to kind of an umpteenth level.
Yeah, and we've been a really good road team. It's it's the kind of challenge you want. The Unidome, North Dakota State, wherever we go, big crowds. Our guys get psyched up for that. They'll be ready to play. This is what football is all about. It's what these rival matchups are all about.
That's right, and that's what will be coming up at Hancock Stadium. Kickoff set for noon. Don't be late. Leathernecks and Redbirds in Normal, Illinois. Game also available on ESPN3. For Western Illinois head football coach Charlie Fisher, I'm Danny Fry. Thanks so much for watching.